Welcome to Stephenville, Texas, the land
cowboy capital of the.
You wouldn't believe how I've seen Stephenville change.
And good evening and good night. And you know what time it is? It is midnight. And that means the midnight hour with your host, John Hall, where we explore everything weird, strange, unusual, and especially the paranormal. Tonight we have a special treat for you. We're going to head on down to north central Texas to the small town of Stephenville with a lovely little story we've been waiting to cover. Most of the time, the small town of Stephenville, Texas doesn't attract too much attention. But recently, people who live there think they've gotten a lot of attention from visitors who come from far, far away. Stephenville, Texas isn't too big, just about 17,000 folks out on the prairie, just 70 miles south of Fort Worth. Up until the past few days, milk is what made it famous. All that changed when several dozen residents looked up and saw a UFO more than once. I'm here with Monica Jennings from Stephenville, who is responsible for breaking the story. Okay. 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 Seeing as it's a front page story, Monica's been very busy interviewing locals who swear up and down that it actually was not from Texas. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe the visitors will read the Tribune posts on its website where it says, if you're looking for a small town community, well, you've found one of the best. Monica, what were some of the witnesses telling you? Oh, okay. Well, okay. The descriptions were the same. It was big and it had bright strobing lights that flashed in no particular pattern. It would hover silently when it did move. Huh. Okay. Monica, what were some of the more, paranormal occurrences you had surrounding this story? Okay. Well, what about Ronnie? I heard that he got the worst of it. There was nothing else, no reports of abductions or anything like that? Okay. Monica, I am so glad you're doing what you're doing because, frankly, there aren't any, I can't think of any reporters who would take this seriously. Normal? You know, Normal? What is that supposed to mean? Monica, I am so glad you're doing what you're doing because, frankly, there aren't any, I can't think of any reporters who would take this seriously. Normal? You know, Normal? What is that supposed to mean? And welcome back. You've been listening to the Midnight Hour with John Hall, where we explore everything that's weird, strange, and paranormal. We're talking to Monica Jennings from Stephenville, Texas, where she reported on a mysterious UFO sighting that many people in this town of Stephenville, Texas, witnessed one cold January night not too long ago. Well, Monica, can we step back a little and talk about Ronnie some more? It seems like Ronnie had a far more difficult time than all the others we've been talking about. Oh, okay. Well, wow. So what's Ronnie up to now? Really?
has landed in one Texas town. It's called UFO fever. Several residents of Stephenville, including a pilot and a teacher, swear they saw a bright, slow-moving object in the sky. Now, those sightings have now put the cattle town on the map.
Monica, let's, we kind of have to do this. I'd like to talk a little bit more about some of the more unfortunate problems that you've had at work. Yeah, of course. You know, speaking of your editor, some people said you were fired. Some people said that you wanted to leave anyway. What was the actual story there? Well, Monica, what makes you stick with this whole UFO thing? As a relatively newcomer to all this stuff, this is really your first story of the scale. Uh, I think so. Monica, it's not very often that you get radar data that corroborates exactly what witnesses said in terms of geographic location and time. It seems to me like it basically showed in black and white that there was nothing flying out there. How do you think that impacts the overall credibility? Oh, really? Following this case, the FAA changed its official policy and no longer releases radar data to the public. So the Stephenville lights remain relatively unexplained, but there was also confirmation from the Air Force. What's your outlook on that? Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. So here we go. Everybody just stay tuned. We'll be back. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to the Midnight Hour with John Hall, where we explore everything strange, weird, and paranormal. We are back. This is John Hall with the Midnight Hour, and you've all been listening to the fascinating story from reporter Monica Jennings from the Stephenville Empire-Tribune. Well, I have to say, Monica, this has been probably one of the most fascinating talks I've ever had with a newspaper reporter. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we sign off? Uh, you know, uh, I I don't know. Well, Monica, it has been a pleasure. We're just about out of time. It's been a pleasure talking to you, but I do have one more question. You didn't see it. Do you believe it? Okay. Well, Monica, it has been just a blast talking to you and trying to understand what you all went through down there in Stephenville, Texas. I hope you have a great life, and I hope to have you back on the show. You've all been listening to the Midnight Hour with John Hall, where we explore everything that's unusual, strange, weird, and especially the paranormal. Don't forget to tune in next time when I'll have renowned exorcist Father Matthew Carlson going to talk about his new book titled The Devil's in the Detail, an accounting of his life's journey as an exorcist. We'll see you then. This is John Hall.
All right, you're good.
Okay, I'm going to laugh because she's talking about Moolah the cow. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Normal. Normal. What is that supposed to mean? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh. 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 Okay. Well, wow. Okay.